Welcome back to the channel, folks. Mr. H here, and what I'm going to be doing today is bringing you my series of movies that never were, movies that were pitched, and deleted scenes from movies which would have fleshed out the world an awful lot more. It's a series which I've been doing on this channel for some time. If you are familiar with it, please do let me know. It'd be good to see returning people. However, what we're going to be doing today is taking a look at all of the deleted scenes from Aliens vs. Predator Requiem, aka Aliens vs. Predator versus Pizza Delivery Boy. So that's what we're going to be looking at today, and specifically of great interest here is actually the skinned predators, but we'll get into that in just a moment. I hope you enjoy the video, and if you do, give it a like and a share. So, just to give you guys a bit of a background with respect to all of this, some of these scenes were never filmed, they were never in the production or editing phase, some were from early scripts and storyboards, and some were shot, edited, all of the effects were done, but then the powers that be decided that it was best to drop them entirely. So, first things first, let's talk about the loading of the Mothership. Now, there was a sequence which was planned in the early stages. This was going to be showing the Predators on board the Mothership loading the smaller scout ship with the vials containing the facehuggers. Of course, we know in the movie that we saw the facehuggers, and a lot of people were like, where were they from? Now, this scene is a great addition to the movie. It would have fleshed that out just that little bit more. And it's one of those things which gives a little bit more time with respect to the Predators, because, of course, if anyone knows anything about AVPR, I believe it's about between an 11 and 13 minutes worth of Predator screen time, which is not that much. So just having this tiny little additional scene would have added an awful lot more. Now, they also would have been loading some other supplies before it separated from the Mothership and then was going to be heading back to Earth. But like I said, this scene was dropped before the effects were even completed due to a budgetary constraint. Now, in the earlier versions of the script, the Predalien was actually going to be killed fighting the Predators on board the scout ship, and it wouldn't have played any further role in the film at all after the crash. This was changed, of course, we know, due to them wanting to make the creature the centerpiece of the film and make it the primary antagonist for the Predators and the humans to go up against. It was an interesting decision. To be honest, having it just as a cameo and a bit of an Easter egg for me wouldn't have been a bad idea. However, from there it would have been interesting to see how they would have went about the primary antagonist for the Predators and then the humans. So moving on, there was going to be a scene featuring a town meeting. So after emerging from the sewers, Dallas and Ricky were going to be bumping into a truck driver named Terry, who would have informed them that the Sheriff Morales had organized a town meeting in the high school's gymnasium. This was, of course, to discuss the disappearance of Buddy and Sam, the father and son, who we saw that awesome scene of them being facehugged. All three of these guys would have then went along to the meeting, where Morales would have attempted to, of course, quell the fears of everyone involved. This then would have resulted in a bunch of the townspeople accusing Dallas of somehow being involved due to his criminal past. I don't like this scene. I'm glad it was cut. This was actually shot, but it was cut. The truck driver is actually still listed in the credits, but like I said, this is absolute rubbish. Again, it's that weird angle where we see Dallas just being this criminal guy for no reason. It doesn't add that much. It's pointless soap opera drama to the movie, but it's interesting nonetheless to at least discuss these things. Now, what you probably all came here for was the skinned predators. So this was actually shot, the models were made, everything was done, and you can actually see it partly. So footage was filmed of Wolf discovering predators that had been skinned by the Predalien, and they had even been hung from the ceiling inside the crashed Predator scout ship. The discovery would have obviously resulted in Wolf becoming highly enraged and would have spurred him on in his mission to destroying the creature due to the lack of honor and just the desecration of the yautja ways. However, of course, in the final film this didn't happen. We see the Predator traits displayed by the Predalien. They were pulled back quite a lot, which is a shame because this is something which we see in the games. The Predalien is very much a cross between a Predator and Alien. In all ways, we see the traits of the yautja coming through. So it is a huge shame. The scene itself was re-edited and the footage of the bodies were removed. However, despite the removal of the concept itself, the skinned predator corpses, they do actually appear very, very briefly in the movie. They can be seen in the background behind Wolf whilst he attaches Bull's plasma caster to his shoulder. So although they should have been fluorescent green, it was digitally dulled to make them appear less obvious. So very interesting that this was removed. Like I said, I would have preferred this. This would have been a really good way to go. It would have been a massive homage to the games, and mainly the whole reason why you include something like this. The Predalien is that. It's what it's always been. It's what it's supposed to be. So for them just to pull it back and make it some bizarre crossbreed that was then turning into a queen, very strange decision, but never mind. We move on to the dog burster scene. So this was cut, of course, from the movie, but this was going to be when the Predalien attacked the homeless man in the sewer. Harry's dog, Butch, was also going to be impregnated with a chest burster, but this idea was dropped due to a budget. Again, the budgetary limitations, which would have been a huge shame because we would have seen a runner again, which would have been a fantastic addition and would have been a great way to pay homage to Alien 3. But again, nonetheless, shame it was cut. This movie seems to be a huge product of its budget, which is, again, it's going to be a recurring thing here, but it is a genuine shame. So there are a whole bunch of human scenes which were cut from the movie. They're not that interesting. They just include some bits and pieces with respect to some homages here and there, but they're really not that interesting. So to get back to the creature feature part of the deleted scenes, Wolf's death was actually going to be completely different. In the original script, Wolf would have died before the nuclear weapon was dropped on the town. He is basically just overcome by the group of xenomorphs who would tear off his arm before he could even activate his self-destruct device. And then after he is dead, Dallas would then take his dropped plasma caster. So that's one of those things which I'm glad was changed. This is one of those things which really not that good at all. On the topic of the fight of Wolf and the aliens and things like that, the rooftop fight would have been a little bit different, but similar to the film that we did receive. So much like all of the other fights in this movie, the fights between Wolf and the alien on the rooftop was actually planned to be considerably longer, but again, budgetary constraints removed it. So aside from just general combat here and there, the very, very specific elements that were removed from this included Wolf emerging onto the roof, quite literally dripping in his fluorescent predator blood, indicating, of course, his fight against the warrior aliens inside of the building, which would have been quite a good idea because, of course, it shows the power of the aliens and also the vulnerability of Wolf, but it also proves the character himself to be an absolute badass. So shame that was cut for the very, very one-sided fight that we got in the film. Again, it's one of those decisions which you look at and you go, okay, I like the finished product because it's good to see Wolf being, a badass, but this would have made him even more of a badass because it shows that he is vulnerable, he is susceptible to damage, but he's still overcome it. However, the idea itself was dropped mainly because they were going to be adding heavy rain, which would have just washed the blood off, which is an interesting decision, an interesting reason as to why they chose to cut it. You'd have thought they would have just cut the rain at that point, but never mind. Of course, later when Wolf and the Predalien finally beat each other to a stalemate, Wolf was going to be impaling the Predalien's head with the Predalien's own severed inner jaw rather than his wrist blades, and then the blood spilled was going to melt off the Predator's left arm. Quite interesting that they chose to change that. Again, probably due to budgetary constraints. There's no specific details as to why, but having Wolf impale the Predalien with its own inner jaw, what an awesome idea. What an awesome, awesome concept. So there was going to be an alternate ending to this movie. A lot of people are aware of this. It was actually shot, and what was going to happen was the special forces were going to come in. They were going to kill everyone after Dallas gave them the plasma pistol. A very downbeat and negative ending, which was then cut because, of course, people just thought, oh, it's too negative. It's too dour to end a already pretty dour film on. Now, this is probably one of those things which would have made the film very, very much better and probably would have solidified a sequel to this film. So originally there was going to be an epilogue where Ms. Yutani received the plasma pistol. We got that. But then it was going to be progressing further to show a secret facility. Yes, Mizutani had a secret facility where there was going to be multiple captured predators and multiple captured aliens being held in suspended animation and being studied by the Yutani Corporation. Now this, what an awesome idea. Genuinely, what an awesome idea, and what an absolute shame that this was cut. Of course, like I say, we got part of this. We got Mizutani receiving the plasma pistol, but just this added little bit would have meant so much. There was also going to be a post-credit scene. Again, it was cut even before filming, and this would have shown a group of predators attempting to capture a huge dinosaur-like xenomorph on the xenomorph homeworld. Again, what a fantastic way to set up a sequel. We see the xenomorph homeworld, we see a dinosaur-like xenomorph. I mean, Jesus Christ, absolutely fantastic. So there you go. That is all of the deleted scenes. Guys, that wraps it up here for me on this video. There's not all that much more to discuss here. Those are all of the deleted scenes which I thought I would include. What do you think of this? Let me know all your thoughts down below in the comment section. If you are new here, please do hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on all the world of pop culture and movie news. And this, my series, exploring the world of cinema, and also just that kind of thought-provoking moment of things which, why were they cut? Why were they not? And why were some ideas even floated? I love this series from a personal standpoint, so I hope you do enjoy it as well. If you did, give it a big thumbs up and share it. Get the news out there. Get this video out there to a few more people. Anyway, guys, as always, I've been Mr. H. Take care.